Truck driving is more demanding than flying a plane. It's not something you do with your eyes closed. Truck drivers must be able to concentrate and give 100% to stay on top of the job. Suppliers are controlling costs by keeping stock to a minimum and using our trucks as mobile warehouses. Tight schedules mean many drivers are operating on less sleep than they should. Even a small daily sleep loss increases the risk of a crash. It slows your reactions and affects your judgment. You forget things.
You don't get the rest at home because you've got to do something. Like this week I'm meant to be building retaining walls. You can't sort of shut off what you have to do at home because then your wife gets upset with you and that's how the argument starts.
Driver fatigue is now a recognised hazard for the road transport industry. And so management, controllers and drivers share the responsibility for getting on top of this problem.
You feel okay with what's going on? You doing your pickups and your deliveries all right as well?
Yeah.
The key to beating fatigue is planning ahead. Preventing it will allow drivers to feel better and be more alert on and off the job. The whole industry stands to gain from the productivity of alert drivers.
As I work for myself and we try and plan our trip ahead, I just pull up if I want an hour of sleep at lunchtime, I go to bed for an hour. It's just the way the body works for me. I get to about lunchtime and then I don't get tired as I'm about to run off the road. It's just because I know I've planned my trip and I don't have to be there at a certain time and I've got time for an hour and a half, 2 hours sometimes. I just pull up and might read a magazine for 10 minutes and then lie down for an hour and a half.
Research shows how widespread the practice of informal napping has become as a response to fatigue. What I want to do is show how napping can be more effective and how companies can create policy that optimises napping as a positive strategy. Let's start with some facts about sleep. Our body's demands for sleep are obvious. The average person needs 7.5 hours each 24-hour day. If they get less, they'll need a nap. The National Transportation Safety Board examined records of drivers' activities prior to fatigue-related crashes. They discovered that drivers who had less than 6 hours or split sleep had increased risk of a fatigue crash.
He was coming from Melbourne to Sydney with a B-double on and the fatigue set in on a straight bit of road, 4-lane highway luckily, and veered off, went straight into the middle of the road. Lucky it had been raining. It was just quite muddy. As soon as the truck went in, it just sunk. If it had been dry, the truck would have just went straight through into the oncoming vehicles, but he was lucky and that was fatigue.
In Australia, it's been shown that drivers with 6 hours sleep are 3 times more likely to crash than those that had 8 hours in 24. Drivers with less than 5 hours sleep are at 5 times the risk. If you've only had 6 hours sleep, you increase the risk of slipping into a brief micro-sleep at the wheel.
People do take things to help them with their fatigue, which is only delaying the onset of the tiredness anyway. So when they do get tired, they really get, that's when accidents happen because they fall asleep like that.
Performance studies show that an 8-hour sleep provides the best level of alertness. Comparisons with other known risk factors like alcohol reveal that we are put more at risk by lack of sleep than we are from being 0.05. To stay on top of the job, you've got to manage fatigue. There's only one way of beating fatigue: getting enough sleep. Companies that set schedules to allow for at least 8 hours of sleep every day and a realistic time for other things in life are doing the right thing by their drivers and their business. Professional drivers must do the right thing by themselves and their families and make sure they get enough sleep every day. Sleep loss on one day adds to any shortfall on the next to form a sleep debt. This growing debt can only be overcome by a good sleep.
Get in on a Saturday morning or a Friday night and You go to bed, you have your 7 hours sleep, you wake up, have your cereal, and then all of a sudden you're back in bed for another 6 hours, you know.
Just like taking a loan from a bank, the more you borrow, the more you have to pay back, and the harder it becomes. Napping is a small deposit with a big bonus. Like making a repayment against a loan, napping stops things getting out of control. To be safe on the road, you'll need to nap to make up any lost sleep.
Guys, when you're finished off this little bit here, just put a bit of packing down between the gates. If you can tie it all down. So I'm going to go at my truck and have an hour, okay? All right then, I'll see you in an hour. Thanks, guys.
We all have a minimum requirement for sleep, and if we don't get it, we are less safe on the roads. Accumulating sleep loss is a debt that must be repaid. Naps can help keep you going in the face of lost sleep and prepare you for extended operations by maintaining alertness. The amount of sleep you're getting is only part of the story. How and when you get your sleep really matters. Our bodies run on a biological cycle of just over 24 hours. This body clock is linked to the cycle of night and day. Night drivers know about the 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. low in the cycle. Your temperature drops, digestion slows, hormones change, and alertness drops. Even if you've slept during the day, you will still feel your body functions gear down during the critical early morning hours. There is a mid-afternoon drop in alertness during the siesta time between 2 and 4 p.m. Crash statistics go up during these two major lulls. Even if you drive regularly at night and you think you've adjusted, the truth is you can't reverse your body clock. There's no getting away from these daily cycles. The trick is to work with your body clock. Use these natural lows to help you get to sleep, or time naps to ward off lulls when you have to drive during these times. Under normal circumstances, the long sleep during the night cycle can act as an anchor to stabilise your body clock. Studies suggest that the best sleep pattern is a period of sleep longer than 6 hours, which includes the early morning hours. Sleep taken during the day does not have the same recuperative value as this night sleep. Now combine what we know about sleep cycles with the issue of how much sleep we have on board. Even the loss of 1 or 2 hours can increase the effect of the sleepiness during the early morning lows and the mid-afternoon lull. You are much more vulnerable in these times. The combined effect of lower quality day sleep and having to work through the early morning hours compounds the problem for long-haul drivers. If this daytime sleep is also interrupted, this further multiplies the risks. We have a daily cycle of sleepiness and alertness. Sleep is best if taken at night. Daytime sleep is poorer quality. Driving at night with insufficient sleep combines the worst of both worlds. Professional drivers have to be aware of the three main reasons for fatigue: sleep restricted to less than normal, driving at a time when the body normally sleeps, and long working hours, which impact on opportunities for sleep and create a sense of fatigue. An effective way of making up for inadequate main sleep is to take a nap. Everybody does it, but what I mean by taking a nap is a planned addition to your main sleep. Although briefer and shallower than a proper sleep, a nap is great at boosting alertness and preventing fatigue. A nap may also ward off a fatal micro nap at the wheel.